So here we are in the deal process. We have sold that vehicle. We've completed the title to the vehicle that we've just sold. That's the old original title. And now we're going to go ahead and order the customer's brand new title. One of the most important parts of the transaction is going to be ordering the customer's new title to the vehicle that we have just sold. This is a mandatory requirement, so we definitely need to include this action in the transaction. So we have to order that customer's new title. And here you see when you have logged into the MV Trip system at mvtrip.alabama.gov, your username and password should automatically populate up there at the top. So your login credentials should automatically be entered every single time that you come back in to the ALTS link, as you see right here. So we're going to go ahead and select ALTS, and we're going to go ahead and apply for a new vehicle title application. So on this screen, you'll click Start a New Vehicle Application. And on this screen, you're going to see those options that we just spoke of just a few moments ago. You're going to be able to replace a title, correct an Alabama title. You can manage your liens or manage stolen vehicle titles and rebuilt titles as well. So we're going to go ahead and order the customer's new title to the vehicle that we've just sold. So we're going to select on the Transfer a Title link. And now you're going to land on what's called the Transfer Pre-Qualifier page. So we're going to go ahead and be applying for an Alabama title. And that is assuming that your customer lives in Alabama. Otherwise, you would select an out-of-state title, and then you're going to enter the exact vehicle identification number. And once you've entered that vehicle identification number, this is where the magic of this system is going to come into play. So once you've entered your VIN, the vehicle's automatically going to populate. So according to this, you just sold your customer a 2006 Chevy Equinox. But if you sold your customer a Chevy Equinox and this screen says Harley Davidson, then you have actually entered the VIN incorrectly. So make sure this is the vehicle that you sold. So you're going to verify that. And it's also going to ask you if that's the vehicle that you sold. So I'm assuming this was the last deal that you have done. So go ahead and select that that is the actual vehicle that you just sold. Now you're going to go ahead and verify some information such as the color of the vehicle. And one of the very next steps, you're going to need to let the state know that you are currently logged in as a designated agent and that you are the seller. So you're going to check the currently logged in as designated agent and seller box. Then you're going to enter the trade-in and the selling price. Now, I want to remind you, the full gross selling price was the sales price, and the trade-in allowance would be the value of any trade-in. So do please keep that in mind, and that's going to allow that customer, if they did trade a vehicle in, they'll be able to get that trade-in allowance, and they'll pay a little less sales tax on that, okay? Next, we're going to go ahead and enter the customer's information here. So let's assume that we're selling this vehicle to an individual. If you want to, you can just type in the customer's driver's license, or you can manually enter their first and last name. And I'm always going to recommend, no matter what, if you're manually entering the customer's first and last name, I recommend handing them a separate piece of paper and have them spell their name correctly. That way, you're not going to be spelling their name incorrectly on that title application. Otherwise, the state's going to mail them a title with their name misspelled, and they're going to be really upset with that. So make sure that you have spelled their name correctly. You're going to go ahead and enter the customer's email address and phone number. And as I said a moment ago, I'm assuming you're selling this vehicle to an individual, but if you're not, you could select the party type such as a business or an estate or a trust. But I think in most scenarios, you'll probably be selling that to an individual. But just, if you are selling it to a business or an estate or a trust, go ahead and enter that information as well. Now you can also add owner. So if you want to add an owner, say for example, you've got a husband and wife applying, you've already entered the wife, now you're going to enter the husband, say for example. So you can enter additional owners, and you'll need to select the relationship there. And all this information is going to be sent to the owner's address unless you have a mailing address that you enter as well. Now, you can actually add a lien holder either as yourself if you're a buy here, pay here dealer, or if you're a third party lender. And we're going to cover financing extensively later on in the course. So if you are a buy here, pay here dealer, you're going to need to be able to put your financial claim on a vehicle when someone owes you money on that vehicle so they can't sell it until they pay you off. And we're going to cover that extensively later on in your dealer training course. So if you do have any lien information, you can enter that there. If the customer paid with cash or check, then there's no lien, there's no financing. Finally, we're going to upload some documents such as the bill of sale that I showed you a few moments ago and any other additional documentation, such as an out-of-state copy, which is called out-of-state copy of the title, which we call a foreign title, or, copies of driver's licenses or anything that you need. And then you're going to see a summary, and we're going to do a quick review of that. And now you just need to make sure all the information is correct regarding the sale, the sales price, the trade-in, the vehicle, and things like that, along with the purchaser price. And if there is a lien holder, make sure that the lien holder information is correct. And now we're going to go ahead here down to the bottom, and we want to click on Submit and Print Application, and then OK. Pretty easy. It's going to take you step by step through here. The first thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and print that title application. And now you're going to see the actual title application that's going to be printed up for you and for your records, and you're going to make 2 copies of everything. One goes to the customers, and then one goes into your records as well. I want you to be very aware. The next step is to ensure that your customer and you have both signed this title application. I want to repeat that very important information. Both you and your customer must sign the application. So make sure that they sign it. And as you see there, you're the designated agent. So that's the DA info. So you're going to go ahead and sign it as the designated agent as well. Now, you do have a couple of final steps here. You're going to go ahead and mail the bill of sale and that title application and the other required documentation to the Department of Revenue Motor Vehicle Division title section in Montgomery, as you see right there. And so you're going to print a copy and mail them to the Department of Revenue that you see right there. But you're also going to electronically submit the application by clicking the Submit Applications button. So you're just going to click that Submit button. And then you can also select from existing applications from your dealer dashboard. Now, I'm assuming we're doing one at a time, but if you have a couple of them built up there, you can select either one or you can select all of the applications that are basically being held and waited for you to go ahead and apply. But I always recommend do that title application at the time of the sale. That way you'll never go over that 10 calendar day window. I want to make sure that you're very aware of that. Remember, you have to apply for the customer's title within 10 calendar days of the sale of the vehicle. As you can see right here, the state is going to charge you a title application fee. So remember, the maximum that you can charge right now is $16.50. And so you can charge the customer $16.50, but the state is going to charge you personally that title application fee. So when you're ready to go, you're going to click that green button there and click OK. And then you're going to go ahead and enter your payment information right there, along with your credit card number. And there's your fee up there at the top right. So when you click the Submit Payment, then you have applied for your customer's title and your role is complete. Remember, you have to apply for that customer's title within 10 calendar days of the sale of the vehicle, but I strongly want to encourage you to go ahead and order that customer's title before they even leave your dealership. That way you're never ever going to go over that 10-day window. If there's any additional documentation that you need from the customer, you'll certainly be able to get that taken care of. Now, I want you to be aware that there are 3 user roles that you can set up as an administrator, okay? Now, there's the administrator, which is you, which allows you to fully initialize all Alabama title system applications, but you can also have a senior user which can do everything but manage users. Then you can also just have a user which might be like a salesperson that's going to just have access to order titles and things like that. So you can easily create new users and add new users right there on your MV Trip dealer dashboard. So it's pretty easy once you've started that, and it's going to take you step by step through the entire process. I also want you to be aware that there are several title service providers that can assist you, if you have title questions and need questions with title ordering and things like that. As a reminder, I want to give you that information one more time. It is a law. You must order the customer's title within 10 calendar days of the date of the sale of the vehicle. I hope you find this information very helpful.